Are you tired of feeling tired? Are you struggling with vitality? Or does your body just not feel great? Join today's hosts Monique Bradley and registered naturopath Lynette Hill to talk about your health. It's Health Bites, bite-sized pieces of health and wellness information so you can own your health. Well, no mai, haere mai. Welcome to the YourFixTV studios. If you have ever noticed perhaps that everyone around you has an attitude problem, that you're putting chocolate chips into your omelette, or that your dryer has shrunk every last pair of pants in your wardrobe, chances are you may have something going on with your hormones. And to help sort that out tonight, I've got two amazing guests on the couch who are both advocates of natural medicine. They are registered naturopaths and medical herbalists. Tonight we have Mike Ayres, welcome to the couch. Welcome. And from My Remedy, the director there, the clinic manager, clinic director, is that right?
Yeah, owner.
Oh, the owner, that'll do. Lovely Lynette Hill. Welcome, kia ora to you both. How are you feeling?
Great.
Yeah. Hopefully none of those symptoms I described have happened during the last week since we saw you, Lynette.
Oh, maybe just the dryer, I think.
Just the dryer.
Yeah.
The dryer shrinking your pants?
My iron caught fire last night.
Well,
excellent.
I hope that's not hormones.
Yeah, hopefully that isn't hormones. Well, tonight we are talking about the effects of your hormones, what happens when they go a bit wonky, and also what happens when your liver starts to do crazy things, because the liver's pretty heavily involved with the hormones. I'm understanding there's one pathway in, one pathway out, 5 pathways in. Is that correct, Lynette?
I actually don't know that figure.
Okay.
Do you know that figure?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think there's quite a few pathways in and quite a few pathways out.
Oh, so, okay, well, I've been proven wrong. You guys are the experts.
You've been Googling, haven't you?
I have not. I heard it at a conference somewhere. So tonight, if you've got any questions, please feel free to shoot those on. And it's great to see you, Stephen Wise. You were a little bit early, but it's okay. You haven't peaked too soon, and that's something we'll be talking about later on tonight. So welcome, welcome, welcome. And we are focusing tonight on both your liver health, and later on in the session, we will be talking about the menopause. So it is a big night ahead, isn't it? Now, do you want lots of questions?
Yes.
Definitely.
Excellent. So you guys know what to do. Send them on in, regardless of where you're watching from. I've got all the streams on my computer here so I can see. And hello to everybody watching tonight on Periscope as well. Lovely to have you on board. Shoot your questions through. So let's talk, first of all, the role of the liver in our hormones. I didn't realize this was a big deal. So first of all, let's talk about hormone health through the different ages. You know, you've got, we're born, we hit puberty. Even before that, as you were talking about last week, they hit that hormonal change around, 4 or 5 years old?
About 4 years old, you see, particularly in boys, quite a change with their emotions and their aggression and their energy levels and their inability to sort of follow basic instructions. They become kind of wild animals. And have you noticed that with your boys?
Yes, most definitely. They kind of become almost like a 2-year-old again for a little while.
They regress. Yeah, so that's a big time. And sometimes around 7, you'll get another wee hit of that. Yeah.
And so that's testosterone kicking into play, is it right?
It's usually a boys thing. It's about their big growth. Girls do more of their big growth through puberty, and it's all about estrogen, and it's moody growth and pain as their breasts are growing, and their ovaries are developing.
Right.
Everything's starting to happen. So that's their growth, and it's estrogen that fuels that. Okay. And then the next stage is about the estrogen and the progesterone and the testosterone all kind of reaching the right level.
It's a bit of a volatile cocktail going on, really, isn't it?
Absolutely is.
And it's pretty much all about fertility and making babies into that adult years, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Right, so
we're just being groomed for it.
We are. So we're going from puberty to the childbearing age, and then of course, people are finding something kind of happens where they go to perhaps try and have children, and all of a sudden they can't. And that's really where my understanding is the liver is actually potentially in the way of making that happen, or could be one of the factors. Mike, can you speak more into that?
Yeah, so one of the pretty common presentations we see in clinic are people around early 30s, I would say, and really lovely couples, and they might have come back from overseas. They've been partying it up for 10 years, and they've come back to New Zealand to make a family, and they've stopped contraception, and they're feeling pretty terrible because they're essentially thrown themselves into a detox type state,
right,
and not dealing with it very well. So they're feeling nauseous, they're exhausted, their skin's breaking out, and they've been trying to have kids for a few months but been unsuccessful.
Right.
So that's when they come into us, and we kind of have to have the big chat.
Of course.
And say it's maybe going to be a few more months or up to a year, and you've got to get clean and got to get your liver sorted before we can start trying to have babies.
So ideally, before people get to that stage where they go, right, I'm a baby factory now, it's time to get this party started, you really want them to come to see you first, right, to prepare the foundation. Yeah.
But it's not just the women, it's the men as well, because that often that heavy alcohol drinking and that lifestyle and high carbs and low veggies, they've actually done a lot of damage, and we need some good antioxidants in there. And we go even further into, we see a lot of couples who are going through IVF, and that's really hard because until you actually do that liver work and clean, both of you clean yourselves up, do it together, do it for his wellness and her wellness. And really until you do that and you get your liver functioning well, it's going to be so much more dangerous for that baby.
Right.
So it's about making it as
safe as possible.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've gone through that, and so the liver is really at every stage of this development. So what about post-birth, and heading into menopause? Let's talk about that, Lily. That's been a big topic of ours for the last few months, a few weeks, sorry, I should say.
It's been a big topic of mine for 10 years.
Oh, right. So you speak from experience.
So there's such a long space usually between children and all of the hormonal changes you have and as you're getting older, but eventually we sort of get to hormone and things start to stop. So estrogen suddenly stops, or our hormones get out of whack, or we might start finding that we get hot flushes. So that's a really big indication for a woman, that her hormones are changing, periods are changing, she's not throwing the rubbish out anymore every month. So things start to change, we start to see some livery issues. And with men, so we call it menopause, and we laugh and everything, but
but it's real.
Yeah, they might be getting breasts and
what are the symptoms? And we are going to delve into this a little bit more. So if you've got men in your household, you need to get them to watch tonight, because it is a real big focus on men. Very quickly, Mike, the early symptoms of the menopause.
So what people usually tell me is the lack of energy, they've put on a bit of weight, maybe struggling with exercise. Those are kind of the real early signs. But it's really different to female menopause, because instead of being this kind of sudden-ish event, it's just slow and creeping, and then all of a sudden the symptoms just start to become noticeable. But the actual drop in testosterone is just a natural, slow, progressive drop over time.
That is very interesting. That's quite different for women, because it's almost like a lot of my female friends are going, whoa, woke up this morning with menopause. Yeah. And they know. It's quite an amazing difference.
Well, women, we were saying before, tend to pack their symptoms on the outside, so it becomes quite obvious, and you're flushing and you're putting on weight and your breasts are changing, and it's, your stomach starts sticking out and all those fun things that happen to women. Whereas men pack it all on the inside, and emotionally I think men tend to pack it on the inside and not show it. So often the first sign is that the blood pressure's gone up, there's ringing in the ears, there's headaches, there's, what were you saying, nausea in the morning with men is quite common.
Yeah, so the inability to eat breakfast, they might just be living on a cup of tea and maybe a piece of toast before they go off to the office to try and work for 4 to 6 hours before lunch. And then they're having this big fried greasy lunch to compensate because they're so hungry.
Yeah.
Now, if any of this is resonating with you, please feel free to share your comments in the news feeds, regardless of if you're watching on South Pacific College of Natural Medicine, My Remedy, Lynette Hill Naturopath, or the Your Fix TV page. We love you being part of the show, and we're here to help. So if you want some help, or if anything's resonating with you, please let us know. Carly Coolidge said, crap, I keep losing my signal. I hope you keep this in your archives. Well, that's the great thing about these shows, is they will stay on the timeline of whatever page you're watching on. I think tonight you're there watching from America, actually, on the Your Fix TV page. And all of the episodes will also be loaded up into the Your Fix TV website and onto the website of myremedy.co.nz. So you can watch them there on demand as well. But do keep those questions coming through. Hello, Jane Wan. Hello, Elizabeth York. Katie English, good to see you. Maria, lovely to see you as well. Keep your questions coming through. And like I said earlier, if you've got a man in your house, get them to watch, because we are dealing with the menopause tonight. It is all about hormones. This is episode 11. Check that out. We've been running for 3 months now, Lynette, and it is amazing to see that our group has been growing and that more questions are coming through every week. So one of the things I wanted to ask you both about is, you've put all of these things on the table out of my cupboard, and I want to know what effects these things on the table here actually have on our liver and on our hormones as well. So you've got some of my favorite foods. We've got eggs, we've got basil, avocado, tomatoes. Some of the other things I'm a little bit stumped with. So can you guys talk me through why you've put these on the table, considering we are talking about liver and we're talking about hormones? What do these have to do with all of this?
Well, believe it or not, we're not going to do a cooking demonstration or a recipe.
Okay.
Well, you're so good at that.
Oh, so thank you. Thanks, Mike.
Do any of that. But
it is a favourite of mine.
What we actually wanted to talk about was the packaging materials, because these are sources of what we call xenoestrogens in our diet. And these are compounds that are fairly toxic to the body, in that they act almost like estrogen, and they mess with our estrogen receptors. So they really cause lots of problems. And the liver is the one that has to deal with them, really.
Wow.
Because we can't actually stop this. This is the world we live in, and we don't get our veggies in a basket and a paper bag anymore.
Right.
So one of the things that we try and do for the world and for our body is have less plastics. But the reality is you can store in glass. That's an option.
Yes.
But it's getting more difficult. So, some of these foods are unavoidable, and some of these packaging is unavoidable. So then it's about having your green veggies and your antioxidants and your water and your lemon and your herbs and spices and the other things that you can do, because your liver should be able to process a lot of toxins, but we don't want to overload it.
Well, on that point, actually, Carly Coolidge has just said, best daily health habit for a healthy liver aside from not drinking. Great question, Carly. What are your thoughts?
My one would be ensure that you're eating enough protein in the day. So,
that's a goodie.
All of the liver's detoxification pathways need protein essentially to work. So aside from all the other really cool stuff we talk about with the herbs and specialized supplements based on broccoli sprouts and things, but if you don't have protein, then it's going to be really limited. Yeah.
I did not know that. That is incredible. Lynette, what are your thoughts?
Water.
Yeah.
Big fan of water. If you can, start your day with some water and lemon and actually get things going and flowing, and you can, wash things through, you're really giving your liver and kidneys a lot of support. Water's good for everything.
Oh, that's good to know. Now, very interesting comment from Katie English, who's just said, can you store in Tupperware?
We have to be so careful about brands, but any plastic has its risk, and storage is not such an issue if it's cold and everything goes in cold and it stays cold, and then you take it out and you heat it on crockery or glass, and I prefer in the oven or on the stovetop.
Rather than microwave.
Yeah, that is the better way of doing it. But the big problem comes when you are grabbing something in your bowl and it's got some cling film, I have to call it that, over the top, and you nuke it, and you've seen the plastic, it's all melted.
Yes,
Where do you
I have.
think that's gone?
Yeah.
So heating in plastic, or a lot of people grab their bottle of water first time, not such a problem, wash it out in hot water, and just the nature of BPA is that it leaches into your water.
Wow.
Once it gets into our body, it's still that leaching chemical, and it leaches and it gets into our organs.
So those chemicals are interfering with your liver, they're interfering with your hormones, they're basically hormone disruptors. Is that what you would say, Mike?
Yeah, exactly. Yep. So in men, they can be, we would really look at that as a source for men who are getting man boobs or, you know, having that menopause, feeling a bit emotional, teary-eyed later in life. Yeah, we really need to look at those sources of the xenoestrogens in the diet.
Yes.
And, you know, we see evidence of fatty liver, and people say, but I hardly drink. And this is just as toxic as alcohol. Possibly more so, because
that's mind-blowing.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because our body, it's good at detoxifying, but there's only so much it can do. And it's not set up for xenoestrogens. It's set up for food and even alcohol to a large degree, because it's something it can recognise. But this is brand new, and this is plastic. And I don't think we have, you know, we've got, you know, amylase and lipase and protease, but we don't have plasticase in our, you know, in our pancreas. So it's, our liver just goes, I'll take that, I'll chuck it on these fat cells, and we'll deal with it one day.
So we're becoming more plastic as we get older.
We are.
Yeah,
plastic
the world
surgery
is full of it, and unfortunately, you know, so the unintended consequences of the age of plastic, which is an amazing substance and super convenient. But now we know it's
not good
all
for
through
us.
the oceans, all through sea life. And
okay, so there you go, team. You've heard from the experts. Katie English just said no microwave in my kitchen. Yay. Well done.
Cool.
Well done. Even working with Master Chef Ray McVinney, he only ever uses it to defrost things if he needs to.
Yeah.
But most often he defrosts on the bench. It's just another thing in his kitchen. He said if you can do it as naturally as possible, that's the best way to deal with food.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Fantastic. So as always, if you've got more questions, you can put those in our group. We have a group on Facebook called the Health Bites group, which we would love you to join. And every week we talk about different things. You can ask the experts. So we have both Lynette and Mike in the group, plus other health experts who are there to answer your questions. And if you don't feel like sharing publicly in our news feeds on the different pages, that's the place to throw your questions. A lovely group of people in there. Always happy to chat. Mike, you often share some articles and things that are very interesting as well.
Yeah, I like to share the things that I find interesting, so hopefully it's helpful for people.
Yeah, I like that a lot. That's really cool. Now, as always, we do have to share a disclaimer with you because this is the law, and that is we're not here to diagnose anything on this show. So if you do come through with a question saying, I have this unusual rash on a part of my body, we can't help you out there, but we can steer you in the right direction and share some information that may give you some options. As always, if you do have a problem, please seek the help from a healthcare professional, your doctor, perhaps your chiropractor, your osteopath, or of course a naturopath or medical herbalist, because that's what we're all about. Right, an exciting night ahead. Let's delve into the liver tonight. And I've been doing a bit of research, and this is a big topic. I didn't realize, I know we've been talking for the last 2 weeks about the importance of the hormones, right? And, you know, what they do in the body and how they're kind of like these traffic directors almost of everything that happens in your body. They're deal makers. They kind of have to work together, you know what I mean? To make everything process. But the liver, if your liver's not working properly, it's almost like this giant car crash inside your body. I hate to be so awful, but that's my understanding, speaking in layman's terms. When you're seeing people coming into clinic, let's talk about this. What are the first things you're seeing? What are the effects of the liver?
Okay, so, and Mike touched on it before, so often the first sign will be the skin. The skin is another major detox organ, so if the liver's, you know, full up, then it's like, you know, the those storage buildings that you see, and so the liver has got all these fat cells, so you fill all of them up, and then you suddenly notice that they've gone up a level, and so you know you're starting to fill up cells on different parts of your body, and then all of a sudden you start to see like, oh crikey, they need more, and they start spilling out onto the car park.
Right.
And that's like our skin going, well heck, you know, we're full in here, we've filled up the liver and we've filled up, you know, all the other tissues, so let's start pushing that out through the skin.
Wow.
And especially when the bowel's not working too, right? When it can't get rid of that stuff out of the bowel like it should do, then it this resorts to the skin.
It's got to come out. It's got to come out. Your body is really clever. It's just protecting you, you know. So yeah, that's a big one, isn't it? Skin, headaches, particularly before a period, or around menopause, or men start getting headaches. And they didn't always have headaches. So that's usually toxicity, and toxicity is often a sign of what's going on. Look, it can be other things too. So if there's been a whiplash, or, you know, there's been something, or stress where they're all like that all the time. Yeah.
Any signs of magnesium deficiency, basically, right? Because the liver needs magnesium to detoxify. So it can...
I'm reading so much tonight, really.
Can cause magnesium deficiency, and then you get your twitches and your cramps. And
the cramp is the worst. I've had cramp for years. Is that a sign that perhaps my liver wasn't terribly happy?
Well, it's a sign that you need magnesium.
Not that you can diagnose, but
So.
And it's really interesting. So fibromyalgia, one of the things that we use for that is, you know, specific magnesium. And fibromyalgia is, when you see it through the blood, it's acute phase protein, which is like little spikes, and they're made in the liver. So there's always this cross connection of what these conditions are. And, you know, we see like magnesium so good at washing tissues. So again, if your tissues are not happy and you're not clearing your toxins, of course your body's going to dump its magnesium. It gets the job done, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So what about people like me who have had things like glandular fever? My understanding is that can really affect the liver. Can that affect the hormones as well, Mike?
Yeah, so the liver is that, you know, so integral in converting hormones into active forms and detoxifying them. So anything that puts a load on the liver will just throw hormones out of whack, really.
And it's interesting too, my understanding is that with all the pathways that can go into the liver, if the liver's pretty unhappy, then say the estrogen that goes into the liver, it can't actually go out the way it needs to be. It goes back into the bloodstream. Is that right, Lynette?
It doesn't get converted in the right way, and so often our body will throw those fats back out and out and out and out until they are actually digested in some shape or form.
Whoa. But that can't be good for us.
No, so those bad estrogens are the ones that we know now are cancer promoting, basically. So we want to be, it's really important to get that right and make sure that estrogen's going down the right pathway and being eliminated.
That is so good to know, because we want to look after ourselves, and that's what these shows are about.
We make enough estrogen not to store it.
Yeah, that's so true. Rochelle McDowell just said, we'll go and join the Health Whites group now. Thanks. You're welcome, Rochelle. Good to have you on board. Carly Coolidge, how many milligrams of magnesium?
Cool. Well, so the daily requirement for people is anywhere between 400 and 600, is that right? So what we would do, if you came to see us, we could give you a magnesium questionnaire, which would tell us how much in deficit you were, and we would choose. But yeah, people might get anywhere between 100 and 600, I would say, milligrams a day.
And it's magnesium is such a big topic. So a lot of people say, well, I take magnesium, and I just get diarrhea. So so this is, again, is, you know, we've got our ladder which says, you know, what you can do yourself and what you can go and look for. But unfortunately with magnesium, it's not the magnesium that's the issue, it's what it's coated with. And so most of our minerals are given a coating, which is like an envelope that you put the magnesium in, and you post it to different parts of the body for different things. So if you're getting an orotate, which is the most expensive form, that's posted to, say, your muscle or into your mitochondria to do something. Or if it's a 2-AEP, it's posted to the outside to seal it off so that you've got good charge. Or if it's oxide, which a lot of those cheaper magnesiums are, good value, you get like 2,000, capsules for $3. It's probably magnesium oxide, which posts it to the bowel, draws water behind it, and you get basically...
Which is a great laxative.
Wow. So there is a bonus, but it may not be doing what you need it to do.
Yeah, so
that's really interesting.
If it's a big deal, get some good advice on it.
Awesome. That's really cool to hear. Thank you both. Carly, I hope that answers your question. Now, I just want to say hello to everybody watching on Periscope. I've seen there's been a bunch of people. I'm sorry if I haven't managed to answer your questions on there, because the questions come through quite quickly. You can, of course, get in contact with the team at My Remedy. In fact, if you do have any questions, we'd love you to get on board and ask the team directly. In fact, we've got a video coming up right now just to show you who are the people behind My Remedy and the level of care you can get. So everybody has a different role. There's a bunch of different practitioners working there, all with their own area of expertise. So let's take a look at that. And at the end is the contact details for My Remedy as well. So if you want to have your questions answered, you can hit them up via the website. Let's take a look.
Have you ever considered that symptoms are often the outward sign of something deeper and can just be the body's way of saying, help me? The great news is that even small changes from the inside out can affect your whole health outcome. So, are you ready to make positive changes? The team at My Remedy work with you to find solutions for optimal health and can help you with many health challenges. Their team of qualified and registered naturopaths are there to help with any health condition: gut health, skin conditions, adrenal fatigue and immune health, cardiovascular and men's health, and nutritional health. At My Remedy, they also have a registered homeopath and hypnotherapist who are there to help with the deepest challenges to your health, your beliefs, your fears, your habits and behaviours. So if you're ready to create better health for you and your family, try a different approach. Visit myremedy.co.nz or give them a call on 09486 2175. My Remedy. It's your remedy.
All right, well, very interesting. Unfortunately, we didn't get through all the practitioners there. We've just had a bit of the internet gods are not on our side tonight. I'm sorry about that. But if you want to find out more, you can actually head to the My Remedy website and you can find out more about the team. www.myremedy.co.nz will give you all the information you need, plus these amazing articles, contact details, and you can have a look at all the different team members and their areas of expertise, because each has a unique perspective on health and a real passion for the things they do. So your area of expertise is really around anxiety and the adrenal glands.
The adrenal fatigue and the immune system. They're my absolute passion. Yeah.
And for Mike, your cardiovascular and men's issues, right?
So we'd love to see more men, so come on in.
We like that, definitely. Now, you do both do Skype consults as well, as much as you can, right? So how do people get on board with a Skype consult? What's best to do, Lynette?
Basically just phone the office and the details are there, or email us.
Yep.
It's really neat if we can see you face to face, because we can, look at your skin and do everything else and do a hemo view. But Skype's a really good alternative for people that just can't get to us. So just call us and we'll organise that.
And you do a bit of detective work at the same time while you listen to all those symptoms. And from those symptoms, you're able to put together a relatively clear sort of idea of what may be disrupted in their makeup. Is that right, Mike?
Correct, yeah. We always come from the standpoint that the case take, the set of symptoms and what's going on, what we can see, what you're feeling is about maybe 80 to 90% of what drives what we will decide to do with you. And then testing is that other 10-20%.
Okay, very interesting.
And we can send people off, or you can bring in your blood test. So, people often have already discovered, which is often what gets men in the door, that they suddenly got high cholesterol. Well,
high blood pressure.
Yeah, they've been working on that since their 30s, but they've discovered it now.
Yeah.
So often people do have, cholesterol tests, and the other thing is a lot of men particularly might start a medication and suddenly just lose their get up and go just went,
yes.
And so that will bring people in, so they'll often have blood tests. So bringing blood tests is a good idea.
Excellent. So the more information you can get, the more you can piece it all together. It's a bit like a jigsaw puzzle, isn't it, really?
Yeah.
Wow, that's totally incredible.
Bring us as many pieces as you can.
Now, speaking of pieces, Carly Coolidge just said, what about milk thistle? How does that work? Does that help with the hormones and the liver?
It helps with hormones indirectly, I would say, yeah. So it definitely helps with liver detoxification. So milk thistle increases the body's own endogenous antioxidant, which basically detoxifies the chemicals that the liver can sometimes turn chemicals more toxic in the process of detoxifying them. So it's a
wow.
staged process in the liver. So
Wow.
milk thistle comes in kind of in the middle to help protect the liver from those really toxic stuff before it gets turned into a nice water-soluble thing that it can get rid of in the urine or the feces.
Wow, a big topic right there in its own. I mean, I think we need to do a whole episode on the different strategies you can use just to detoxify the liver.
We do
Really.
months and months and months of training, you know, through anatomy and pathophysiology and then ongoing professional development on the pathways of detoxification and the enzymes involved and all of the phases.
Yes.
It's so, the gut and the liver are just totally huge.
Incredible.
For natural medicine.
Wow. So if you have just joined us, welcome to Health Bites. I'm Monique Bradley here in the YourFixTV studio. I've got Mike Ayres and Lynette Hill, both registered naturopaths and medical herbalists on the couch here. And we are talking about your hormones, and we're talking the effects or the role of the liver in really processing those hormones and perhaps getting rid of the ones we don't need. Is that kind of how it works?
Yeah.
That's
Okay,
good, good way to
perfect.
put it. Yeah.
Okay, so let's delve a little bit deeper into those effects and how that partnership works. Now, when I did my research and I looked at the key effects of, or the dance between the hormones and the liver, one of the first topics that came up was that the main functions of the liver is to maintain healthy levels of fats in the bloodstream. So we're talking really about cholesterol and the level of fat. Now, that's something you see when you're working on cardiovascular health and working with men in particular. Can you tell me about some of the symptoms people should be looking out for if things have gone wrong?
Well, yeah, symptom-wise is a bit tricky. So high cholesterol is one of those kind of hidden signs. So people cannot really, it doesn't feel like anything. So it is one of those things that can tick along. So you need to be doing your well-man checks and checking your cholesterol. And when they come in, we do see it on HemoView.
Oh,
you
right.
can see the levels of fat in the blood. But definitely, you know, that kind of abdominal thickening.
Paunch.
Yeah.
It's called a paunch, Mike.
Paunch.
Or the bare belly, the Homer Simpson.
So holding weight
gut.
in this area is a good sign that some of that liver fat metabolism might be not quite right.
Is it the same for women as well? Because I'm talking to a lot of women who are really concerned about that kind of midsection where they are storing fat, Lynette.
It's part of it, but also there's a lot more fat for estrogenic waste, and so I think we have a few more toxins to get rid of and a few more things to store. So there's a few more issues around why a woman has belly fat, but for a man, theirs is often, you know, they haven't got the excuse like I have of like, oh, well, you know, that's from when, you know, it's just filling in for my babies. You know, they actually have got a firm, hard gut. It's not floppy and wobbly, is it?
No.
Oh, it's a completely different experience.
It's really quite obvious when a man is starting to...
And then it might progress from there to that, like we talked about before, the nausea in the morning, intolerance of fatty foods, some of those things.
Rashes are a big get the men in the door as well.
Well, okay, weight gain, some of the other things, heart disease, obviously, you know, are you seeing people just pre-heart attack and things like that? Is that the effects of perhaps a congested liver and some hormones gone crazy as well?
It
Can that
can
contribute?
be, yeah, that's kind of it's a long, slow moving process. So yeah, we might see people post when they've seen the doctor or they've had a wee event and they're on medication and now they've decided that they want to, maybe I should look at my diet and see what I should be doing from a natural standpoint.
Wow. So if people are going to their doctor, their GP, and they're getting their blood tests and they don't really understand them, what are the key things they should be looking for in their blood tests, Lynette?
Well, there is a bit of a tendency with blood tests to look for the H's and the L's, which means the highs and the lows. And if you don't have an H or an L, you're fine, you don't have disease. So that means you're not going to get any medication. You might get some advice to make lifestyle changes, but what I really, really encourage you to do is actually take it to someone like a naturopath who's also trained to read blood results. We're not looking for disease. We're looking for, are you at risk? Are you heading it? Even though your cholesterol may be at 4.9, that's mighty close to what we consider to be going high. So, completely lost track there. But
no, that's all right. I'm with you. So look for the H's and the L's.
Yeah. So we're looking for more indication of risk than the actual disease.
Okay.
And we'd much rather people start doing dietary changes and simple supplementation, like with fish oil, magnesium, before needing to go on a statin, because cholesterol is really tied to hormone health, because hormones are made from cholesterol.
Oh, wow. That's quite
And
mind-blowing.
fat is so important for energy. So if you're taking all of it away, suddenly you've got nothing left. And we do a lot of, particularly men, the symptom that they come in, they feel like they've got bricks in their legs. Their legs are so heavy, they've lost their energy and they've lost their kind of mojo with medication. So once that happens, it's really hard to turn around, because we can't take you off your medication.
No.
So it really is sort of from about 35. Actually, you know, people start going to the gym and they start making some changes, but it's a really good chance to go, hey, let's clean up from my 20s and, you know, get in control of my stress so that I can enjoy my family. Like you were saying, that's what you do a lot with your young patients, is get them dealing with their kids, enjoying their wife again, and sleeping through the night, you know, and getting them healthy. It's really lovely.
Gotcha.
And then you know that they're going on to, you know, through the next years, less likely to have heart attacks, high cholesterol, you know, and those issues.
Okay.
Yeah, we've got to get those basics right first.
Okay, this is mind-blowing for me. I've learned so much tonight. We're going to move into digestive problems. So some of the symptoms that I researched, thanks to Dr. Google, was that when perhaps the liver's not happy, you're seeing perhaps bloating of the abdomen, constipation, inability to digest fatty foods, loss of appetite. What's going on, Mike?
So that a few of those at least can be when the bile stops flowing. So we don't like bile, doesn't even sound like a very nice word,
not
but
pretty,
as
let's be
herbalists
fair.
we love bile. So just getting the bile being made in bigger quantities in the liver and getting out into the intestine is really one of our key goals with a lot of people.
Right.
And so bile is a mild laxative. It's where we get rid of a lot of our toxins. And it's how we digest and absorb the fats in our food. So it's
we
really
like bile.
important. Yeah.
We love bile. Not too
Excellent.
much.
So we want our liver to keep doing what it does
What it
properly.
does naturally.
Excellent, because it helps get rid of the junk.
Exactly.
We like that. We don't want any junk.
We don't, but we also don't really want to be doing a detox either, because that's a thing
That's quite
that you
hard,
do like
right?
once a year. Yeah. And if your liver was in that state and then you tell it to throw everything out, it's got nowhere to put it. It's just going to go back. So we'd rather say, let's get you detoxifying beautifully every day and then get you digesting beautifully every day, so that there's no big deal to deal with.
Gotcha. That all makes a lot of sense. Now, one of the things you said earlier was that the skin's the biggest organ, and that really shows up when the liver might not be very happy. So let's talk around that skin-related kind of scenario. So, you know, rashes, psoriasis, eczema, boils, acne, unusual moles. Can that all happen when the liver is unhappy, Lynette?
Well, absolutely, because like with my scenario about the storage containers and the storage units, if your liver is totally full and there's something that needs to get out, then your skin is a great big detox organ. So you can start to see that sort of pre-hormonal acne. You can have a woman who says, you know, the week before my period, oh, there goes my skin, all clear after my period, because everything's been thrown out. Rashes, a lot of your patients, particularly your sort of 40-year-old men, are starting to get rashes on their chest.
And they can be allergy related rashes as well. So when the liver's not happy for a while, all of a sudden the immune system starts dysfunctioning, and then those reactions to foods, especially like that histamine intolerance, so cheese, red wine, they can
All
start
the good
getting
things
rashes.
in life.
Everything that you used to love.
Oh, man. That's a hard life.
So if you keep your liver happy, you can eat cheese and drink wine. So
There you go. Why wouldn't you?
that?
Why wouldn't you? Okay, so let's talk about blood sugar, because obviously we're talking about that insulin response. I know for me, having had glandular fever, having suffered with eating disorders and things like that, I've really struggled with my sugar levels over the years. I've felt when they're too high. I've been up in the night having to eat food when they're too low. Can the liver actually impact your blood sugar and, you know, and pre-diabetes or even diabetes? Can that be part of that picture?
Yeah, so the liver is a key organ that insulin works with. So usually, like heading towards metabolic syndrome, and pre-diabetes, the liver is the first thing that gets insulin resistant.
Wow.
So instead of doing its job and making that sugar into fat and processing it in a healthy way, and then later on processing the fat out, it just goes nope, and the sugar all stays in the blood, and that's when the blood sugar is really high, along with high insulin, which we know is just a place you don't want to be.
Right, and my understanding, Lynette, is that people who have that higher level of insulin, are they more likely to store fat around the belly as well?
That's when you will often see that. Although, again, in type 1, you'll often get that really skinny little person. So we're usually seeing some weight gain in metabolic syndrome.
Very interesting. Okay, I'm going to hit you with this one, Lynette. We're talking about hormonal imbalances. We're talking about sleep and mental disturbances, mental confusion, depression, sensitivity to medicine, heavy or clotted periods for women or irregular periods, fibroids, which is something we talked about last week, hot flushes, of course, cysts on the ovaries and PCOS, which we talked about last week, mood swings, and the menopause.
Oh my goodness.
What does the liver have to do with all of that?
Well, it has to sort it all out. And whether you've got high estrogen, like if you've got high xenoestrogens that are impacting your hormones, or you've got too much estrogen, you're not having a period, so you're not, as I say, throwing the rubbish out every month. If you're in menopause and you're trying to adjust estrogen, all the rubbish ends up, or tries, as you were saying, to get to the liver and then, do something about it. So the liver is under a lot of stress. And unfortunately, at around about the menopausal age, often we're starting to chill out a little bit, drink a little bit more alcohol, which again is another inhibitor of clearing those xenoestrogens and the estrogenic waste. So we're really starting to challenge our liver pretty much at the time that we need to treat it the very, very best. So it's our liver's working really hard at menopause. That's why we're often seeing a peak in blood pressure for women who, post-menopause. It's a really tough time on the liver, and you're often really grumpy. So it's really easy
I think I must have started then, because I'm just grumpy all the time.
But it's easy to turn to resveratrol, which is
medicinal.
very good, but it's actually quite harmful.
Well, is it going to mask your symptoms? Is it going to interfere? Is it going to be a disruptor?
Make it a little bit worse.
Right, okay.
Too much is going to make it a lot worse.
Yeah, because the liver has to deal with the alcohol first, so it just parks everything else and goes, let's detoxify the alcohol.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh, well, what about all the other stuff?
Tomorrow.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Wow. So your liver becomes a procrastinator for all those other things.
And that's why it's like, well, that's I think why we have, because we have a lot of what's called adipose tissue, which is fat in our liver.
Yes.
But we also have it all over our body. And you might see some women who look like they've got, the jodhpurs, so their thighs start becoming quite large, and often very cold. Our body tries to cool those areas down. It doesn't want to burn it. It's like if we heat up, which is also why you can get thyroid downregulation, because if we heat up and you think that all of the stuff stored in our fat is toxic, it's going to be like someone burning plastic bags. It's like you don't want to do that. So our body is very careful at storing stuff away.
That's incredible. I've learned so much tonight. Now, Gina Sterling has just sent in a really interesting comment. Interesting how each part of the body interacts. Being a diabetic, it's interesting to learn my liver is the first to go. Always been told it's my pancreas. Mike, can you talk around that?
Yeah, so the pancreas is definitely, that's the site of insulin production. So it's very key as well. But really that key driver of diabetes is that insulin resistance. So that's really the main thing that's stopping insulin from doing its job.
And is there a difference between type 1 and type 2 when it comes to the role of the liver?
Oh, not the role of the liver, but in the reason for diabetes.
Okay,
yeah.
Really interesting. Gina, I'd love to know more about your situation, because if we help you, that's what the show is absolutely designed to do.
Well, the thing with Gina, type 1 diabetes?
I'm not sure.
So that's a born with?
Yes,
that's
I
genetic.
think she may be type 2. I'd love to hear from you, Gina.
Yeah.
Very interesting. Now, Raja Chetan has just joined us and said, sorry to join in late, Raja, we've been waiting for you because we're about to talk about the menopause, and I know this is something that you were going to invite all of your friends to watch. But finally, here's the good news about your liver. It is one of those organs that can completely regenerate itself. So I do know of people who have recently had over half of their liver removed. And it is growing and restoring. So there is good news when it comes to the liver and the effect on our hormones, would you say, Mike?
Yeah, definitely. Absolutely. Yeah. Just clean it up and turn it around.
Yeah, it's one of the most exciting organs to work with, isn't it? Because it all sounds so awful to this point. Like, my goodness, what have I done to my poor liver, you know? I wish I could just squeeze it out, but you can't. So there's loads of things, and a lot of people who come to see, you know, Mike and I, they think they're coming with this, but actually, you know, very, very quickly, Mike or I will be thinking, no, we got to clean up your liver. And there's so much you can do to do it in a kind and gentle way. So there's lots of different amino acids and good fats and dietary choices and, you know, choices around water. There's loads of therapeutics that we use to actually, you know, actually get the liver working.
And doing what it's supposed to do, right?
Yeah, you don't need to be on a vinegar diet and sweat lodges and sick and vomiting.
No.
That just doesn't sound pretty.
No, that's not how we do it.
Now, Gina Sterling said, thanks, type 2 diabetes.
Oh, okay. So that, you know, that's that the pancreas has been challenged with its insulin production, and the liver's been going, you know, okay, I give up, you know, slam the door. I'm not doing this anymore, and so you've got this mismatch in the blood.
Right. Okay.
So both organs need support.
So there is hope, even with type 2 diabetes.
Absolutely. I mean, the best thing is not to get there, but there is so much you can do through diet and lifestyle, but also through herbs, specific herbs, some of the ones you were mentioning before.
Yeah, milk thistle is very helpful, but also gymnema is another key one that we would use.
There you go,
lots
Gina.
And lots to do.
I hope that's been helpful.
Some really key micronutrients as well, minerals.
Excellent. We love to hear that. Thank you so much for posting it. Raja's just said, greeting mates. So which herb to prefer for testosterone booster? Tripulus or poison gooseberry? Also, is it normal for a bloke to have a high sexual appetite? Do you know what, Raja? We're going to come back to you very shortly with that, because we're about to delve into the menopause. In the meantime, if you're here in Auckland, you can actually go and see some of the amazing medical herbalists and naturopaths who are in training. And the great thing is that is put together by the wonderful people at South Pacific College of Natural Medicine. We're going to show you a video very quickly right now about the team from South Pacific College who are going to tell you all about what goes on at the Power Clinic. Let's take a look right now.
Welcome to Power Clinic. I'm Robin Carruthers, the Clinic Director. The Power Clinic is a student clinic at the South Pacific College of Natural Medicine. We've got two main functions here. One is to give our students a really good educational experience. They're the ones who staff the clinic, and they are supervised by experienced practitioners, naturopaths and medical herbalists. Our other role, which is more important, is to provide the community with affordable natural health care. So we have free visits for under 6-year-old children and for people over 65, and our other adult normal fees are heavily subsidised. We see a whole range of people here at Power Clinic, people who've got just minor health complaints, who want to look at a wellness plan, right through to people who are on a range of medications and have quite serious health conditions. A lot of people think with natural health care that if you're taking medications, you can't go to a naturopath. But in fact, we're very careful to take that into account and to work around it and support people while they are taking medications that they need to take. So if this sounds like it might be of interest to you, please give us a call and we'll look forward to seeing you and to helping you on your health journey.
Well, it's a very lively conversation in the studio tonight. If you've just joined us, I'm Annette Bradley. We're here at the YourFixTV studio with medical herbalist and naturopath Mike Ayres and Lynette Hill from My Remedy. Great to have you guys on the couch. What a great chat tonight.
Yeah.
We are talking about the liver and the effects of hormones in your body and what they're doing. Perhaps you've started to do a few things. Perhaps you're becoming a bit less tolerant. Or for you lovely gents, perhaps you've developed man boobs. They are real, by the way. And to talk into this tonight, we're delving into menopause with the lovely Mike Ayres. Welcome, welcome.
Thank you.
Okay, so I've got some key things. We've already had questions about tribulus, about adding more testosterone into your life. How do we deal with that? First of all, let's talk about sex drive.
Okay.
A good question. Mike, what happens when people present at the clinic? Men are coming to see you and they're saying about having a problem with their own sex drive. What is going on?
Well, if I talk to Rajas first, because he was talking about kind of the excess versus the lack of, very different situations. But there's definitely for the lack of sexual drive. Tribulus is a fantastic herb.
Yes.
But we have to be careful around anything we do to increase testosterone in a man, because what we don't want to do is have that testosterone be turned into estrogen, which if your liver's not right and you don't have the required nutrients, it can do. So we would never give anything to someone to increase testosterone unless we were giving at the same time or beforehand things to get the liver right and then to have that pathway of testosterone metabolism or correct, so it's not being pushed and shunted over to estrogen.
Okay, so my understanding with the hormones is that everything's about having this perfect balance. So if you're adding more testosterone into there, won't your body respond then by producing more estrogen, Lynette?
That's exactly what Mike was saying.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so your body, it's like, oh, you've increased this. Well, here we go. Let's have more of this.
Okay.
Or if there's waste will always, it's converted into estrogen. So
Very
then you need
interesting.
more testosterone.
And we also ask, why is testosterone low? Are you under stress for any reason?
Right.
Is it a liver issue? Is it a just being overweight and lack of exercise issue? So we have to ask the reasons why to really get to the bottom of it, rather than just and micronutrient deficiencies like zinc and selenium and iodine.
That's really interesting.
Because also, we've got to be really careful because we don't know, if testosterone suddenly drops, that's got to be investigated. Like, go and make sure you have your well man's check and find out, is there something going on?
A good point.
It's really important.
A good point. Well, Raj has actually just said, send me an invitation. I'll be in Auckland for sure. In fact, I'm getting interested on learning more about all of this through a course, which is fantastic. Moreover, it will be a delight to be surrounded by all you people with your Kiwi accents. Good evening also to Zaya Sajid, who is watching tonight. Now, Zaya has actually been on a couple of our shows and asked questions about the effects of, say, testosterone and estrogen on women's libidos as well. I know we're focusing on the menopause, and I know your specialist area is more working with men, but are you seeing the same sort of effects working with women as well?
Definitely, yeah. I think they seem to present often with low libido, would you say?
Women?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And there's many reasons for that. And, it really goes beyond the physical a lot of times. That's where we would, lean on Kate or Steph to really
from your team
start working.
What's going on up here? Is there relationship stuff? Is there unresolved stuff?
Oh, wow.
So it's not all
more
about
emotional
toxicity
stuff.
and liver. Oh, absolutely. I mean, we've done a lot on stress, and that's the reasons for stress are so huge.
Very interesting.
Yeah, giving somebody tribulus when they're feeling unloved.
Yes.
It's not really going to make much difference.
No, that's so true. So true. Okay, so delving more into menopause tonight. Erectile dysfunction. This is a big one.
Yeah, it is a big one. And I think, that is another one that goes beyond hormones. Erectile dysfunction is really the canary in the coal mine for cardiovascular disease, because it's...
I did not know.
There are those mental, emotional aspects of it, but then it's also just, getting the blood going, really. And if your arteries aren't working, then you can't get the blood going. So
I've learned so much tonight. This is mind-blowing. Zaya Saji just said, please tell me from which age most women face menopause.
Oh, okay. So it's considered normal, sort of around about late 40s to 50. But there are women like myself going into menopause, late 30s, early 40s. So it really depends. I mean, I have a history with my cancer and, my thyroid and all sorts of things, which may have, or it may be a hereditary thing, but I went into menopause quite young, and still am going through it. But it's probably around about that 50-year-old stage that it's considered to be normal, where things, your periods are just getting lighter and changing, and that's still just all happening quite naturally.
Right.
That's around when we expect to see it. But if something's happening really early, say around 30s, it's still a really good idea at that point to go, if I actually got an issue with my hormones, because it's much better to keep going naturally if you can. And sometimes cleaning up the liver and giving you some really beautiful herbs, Vitex, just to get things going again, can step you into a more normal hormonal action.
Really interesting. Okay, so erectile dysfunction we've looked at, one of the key things with menopause. Let's talk about breast enlargement and man boobs with men.
Yep.
I mean, it's very real. We see it on the internet. We see it, at the beach. I know there are a lot of men who are really quite uncomfortable about even discussing it. I mean, what is the effect of the hormones in that situation?
So oftentimes that is those endocrine disruptors. So that's when we really would look and be like, spend the energy and the time to low tox your life. And
so get rid of the plastics, the cans.
Buy organic food free of pesticides. Have a look in your history for any chemical exposures that we might need to deal with at a deeper level with some of our naturopathic tools, supplements. Yeah. And
we're seeing it in teenage boys as well. And there may be a link to hydrocortisone use as a child when you've got that hydrocortisone getting into the system through the skin, and which is life-saving for families whose child is screaming, but that liver can't detoxify that easily, so then that sets up to be another toxin in the liver.
And would it be the same with boys perhaps who are taking something like Roaccutane for their acne? Can that really be a disruptor as well, potentially?
Boys and girls. Definitely. Yeah, it has.
Okay.
There's a lot. You need to read your data sheets whenever you take a medication, and if it says any warnings about alcohol or liver or kidneys, then you take great care of your liver and your kidneys. You don't drink alcohol, you drink your water.
Right.
If you're taking those medications.
Now, Abby Leaf just said, hey, everyone, sorry I'm late. Abby Leaf, welcome to the show. I know we're running quite late tonight. I know it's nearly 8 o'clock, so we will have to head away shortly.
Okay.
But the final thing I want to talk about with menopause is the effects of on infertility with men. It's not just a female thing as well. So what are you seeing, Mike, with fertility issues with men?
So micronutrient deficiencies is a big one. So in New Zealand, we're deficient in iodine and selenium in general in our diet, which are really important for metabolic health. Zinc deficiency is huge, and stress is a big one. There's some lifestyle things around heat, temperature, cell phones being in the pockets, that sort of thing.
Oh, wow.
There's a lot we can do to actually protect ourselves.
That is fascinating to me. I mean, I forget, we go through, even down to skincare, Lynette, you've got even skincare that people can use, which is not going to disrupt the hormones because it's made of real ingredients and real food. You've got some of the Kathy Organics range, that's the sunscreen there. Things like that, that's made from a coconut base. There's no nasties, no parabens, no chemicals in there. So should people become more conscious as the consumer to look for things that aren't loaded with chemicals?
Oh, I think so. This is beautiful. Like, there's actually nothing in there you can't eat. So it's kind of like a smoothie.
So, skin.
Smoothie
we like that.
You're putting it on. If it's going into your body, is that actually okay? So really looking at, everything that is here is a word, beeswax and plant-based, whereas if it's numbers and chemical equations, warning. So I love products like Kathy and anything that's organic skincare or anything that is just really, really high in food and low in chemicals.
Well, as you said earlier, your skin's your biggest organ, right?
Yeah.
So if you're taking anything in through your skin, including the environment you live in, you know, all the chemicals that are floating around, all those free radicals, chances are that's going to affect the liver, right?
Absolutely.
Wow.
Poor old liver.
Poor old liver. Now, finally, before we go, Raj has just said, I like to I have used it because I'm a gym rat. So I take 2,000 milligrams. I think it's talking about Tribulus.
Yep.
It made me gain cuts or cutting fat.
Oh, ripping. And,
Gotcha. So much energy, muscle strength, but I felt high sexual activity. Though I channeled it to the muscles, still the sexual desires are high. So is the answer about balance? How can he balance that out?
So probably the Tribulus might be a bit too much. Yeah, I would say find a Tribulus in tea form that you can really just have in a really low dose if you want to keep having it. But there's other ways to really have that lean ability and be muscular without
all that stuff,
without cranking testosterone too high.
Especially if you're already healthy and you don't want to put your liver under extra stress. Would you say that too, Lynette?
Absolutely, and the heart.
And the heart, a good point.
And the relationships.
So true, so true. Well, it is time to head away. Now, if you've got more questions, you can actually funnel those into the Health Bites group. All you need to do is in your search bar in Facebook, you need to just type in there Health Bites and you'll be able to find us. And we would love you to join that group because that's the forum for our experts to be able to answer your questions, and you can connect directly with health professionals there. So it is time to go now. This has been our longest broadcast. It was supposed to be a 30-minute show that's turned into over an hour long, but it's such a big topic. We have more topics coming up. If you've missed any of our shows, they will be rebroadcast next week. A big thanks to the South Pacific College of Natural Medicine for supporting the show and making a difference and creating more wellness practitioners who are going out there and doing great work. We love you guys. And also, if you want to have a consultation with a medical herbalist or a naturopath, you can do that either at the Power Clinic here in Auckland, or you can visit the team at My Remedy. They have amazing experts from naturopaths to homeopaths to Hemaview experts and to, of course, hypnotherapists and everything you need. And of course, be part of the show. Send us your questions. Do that in the Health Bites group. And we want to know, what do you want to see? We are going to focus very soon on obesity. We are going to talk about diabetes. We are going to have those big conversations around fertility. So please be part of that show. And remember, share the show, because the more that we can do to help more people, that's our why with the show. That's what we're here to do. Help more people and, heal more people.
Yep.
Share the love, share the healing. That's what we're all about. So excellent to have you all with us. We've got to go. It's time for dinner. Thank you so much, Lynette, for being on the couch tonight.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
And Mike, it's wonderful having you here and talking about those big issues to do with men. And as always, be safe out there. Look after yourselves, love one another, and be amazing. I'm Monique Bradley. We're here in the YourFixTV studio. A big thanks to Pete, who's behind the scenes tonight, producing the show, and have an amazing week. We'll see you next time.